Charles Oliveira, after a short break, returns to the octagon to try to make himself known once again as a potential contender for the belt. In his last fight, he stepped into the octagon against Islam Makhachev for the vacant title. But alas, he did not manage to take what was rightfully his. But now he has such an opportunity again. Hello fighters. This is World of MMA. In this video, I'm going to tell you how Charles Oliveira will destroy Beneil Dariush. But before you start this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it so you don't miss the next videos. Here we go. Charles Oliveira is a truly unique fighter because he started out in a wheelchair. Doctors never gave him a chance to have a normal peaceful life, and the word sport wasn't even open for him. But he was able to overcome all the difficulties and ended up doing what he loved, where he also had many difficulties. Because of his youth, he wasn't mentally strong and often gave up in his fights. But as he grew older, his thinking and intelligence grew markedly, compared to the young Brazilian. Plus, he had a daughter, which gave Charles even more confidence. After a long MMA career, he still managed to make it to the title fight against Michael Chandler, which was also a very tough fight for Oliveira. But in the end, his character was better than we thought. He knocked out Michael in the second round, and after that a lot of defenses came from Charles. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, none of them are even close to being undisputed champions. But before his fight with Gaethje, Oliveira didn't make the weight and his champion status was legally taken away from him. But he didn't get discouraged, and eventually he was able to choke the American and then go for the vacant belt against Islam Makhachev. But as you probably already know, Islam turned out on another level. He outplayed Charles in the stand-up and wrestling. By the end, he forced a knockdown in the second round. But again, the Brazilian didn't get depressed. He took a little break, and now he's back in the challenger's fight against Beneil Dariush. What if I tell you that Beneil has no chance against Oliveira? Some people would laugh, because half of the fans are cheering and think he would win. But in this video I will try to explain in detail why Charles Oliveira will destroy Dariush. Here we go. Well, the first thing I'd like to start with is the wrestling skills of Charles Oliveira. For some reason, everyone has begun to forget that Oliveira is a basic jiu-jitsu, and once on the ground with him, no matter where you are, on top, underneath, he can still catch you in some moves. But some might say that Dariush has top skills on the ground as well. But that's not entirely true. Look at who he made tap last time. What he showed in his fight against Tony, we don't take that into account, because any wrestling representative can pull off something like that. Looking for a long time, I noticed one fighter. Way back in 2019, he armbar defeated Drew Dober. That's the only fighter who knocked. And then it's back to knockout wins and defeats. Now look who Oliveira was able to force to surrender. Top lightweight fighter Justin Gaethje, also another American top Dustin Poirier. Tough wrestler Kevin Lee was able to experience all the charms of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I think you understand that the opposition is very important, and if Dariush would like to transfer Charles, maybe he will. But that misstep could cost him the win. Charles can easily cast some kind of guillotine, some kind of triangle, an armbar. There are many different variations that Beneil can hardly get away with. He's never met a wrestling representative like Oliveira, and he'll obviously be surprised at what kind of fight the Brazilian will give him on the ground. So I believe that BJJ is a real opportunity for Charles Oliveira to show that he can still compete for the lightweight division belt. Next, I would like to mention the punching, Charles Oliveira's skills. Compared to Dariush, Charles is a tough puncher. Look at the arsenal of punches of the Brazilian and Beneil. Charles punches a variety of body kicks, which will obviously play into the athlete's breathing. Also, his smashing straight punches can cause Dariush a lot of problems. He has a variety of leg kicks, flying knees, tie clinch, and various combinations in his arsenal that can cause Dariush a lot of problems. If Beneil tries to go to his feet, Charles can catch him with a knee and finish him off. If Beneil tries to clinches up Oliveira near the net, the Brazilian can easily work in a tie clincher, breaking his opponent's body with his sharp knees and knocking out Dariush's cardio. So don't underestimate Oliveira's striking technique. Let's not forget the fact that Charles has a knockout punch. Dariush also has power in his hands, but again let's look at the opposition of both fighters to see who is who. Charles was able to send the same Justin Gaethje to a knockdown and then finish. He was also able to outwork and also finish Michael Chandler on technique. And who did Dariush knock out? Scott Holtzman, Drakkar Klose. Do you seriously think these guys are the elite of the lightweight division? The guys Dariush knocked out aren't even close to top guys. So what's there to talk about? On the one hand, a fighter who was competing with the best punchers in the weight class, and on the other hand, he couldn't even knock out a top. So why do people think that Dariush, who never gave any trouble to the top, will knock out a top 5 fighter? Maybe some people believe that, but certainly not me. Charles has enough punches in his arsenal to outplay Beneil and make him look weak. The Brazilian has everything he needs to stop Dariush's onslaught. And taking into account that he's not exactly a top-notch puncher, he can take a punch from Oliveira and that's it. The fight is over, and Charles wins by TKO. I think you know what I was just trying to tell you. Charles is much more experienced and dangerous than Dariush, who hasn't fought any top fighters. Oliveira is much more experienced than Dariush. He has fought many top fighters in the lightweight division as well as in the welterweight division. His record includes many names such as Jeremy Stephens, Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Before the loss from Islam Makhachev, he was on a streak of 11 straight wins and finished his opponents 10 of them. So I think that the experience he gained in the hard fights will help him to beat Dariush in his next fight. And the last thing I'd like to mention as a plus for Oliveira is his mental calmness. That's why he was able to take the title of undisputed champion. A few times to defend it, and you ask me why? Let me explain. When Charles was sent to the knockdown, and he would come to terms with it, then Chandler would be able to knock out the Brazilian. Poirier was also able to become champion if Charles hadn't shown his spirit at that point. Also in the fight against Gaethje, it was noticeable how bad Oliveira was feeling. But he didn't even think about giving up. The hardest fighter to believe was the guy who was in a tailspin with every mistake he made. But now he is so confident that he can't even count on his opponents. It's because of his mentality that Oliveira was recognized as a fighter. I think that Dariush will be able to shock the Brazilian with one of his punches. I can't say that he will, but it's a fact. That is why I think that Charles will destroy Dariush, and in combination with his skills, plus a mental attitude, will do the job. And what do you think, friends? Write your opinion in the comments. Goodbye.